On this episode of The Fifth Down, we got the whole crew. We're going to be talking about Baltimore again with Lamar Jackson. The top teams at the top of the draft, and we got some rumors about some of the players that will be moving teams possibly during the draft. So let's get to that intro music. And welcome back to the podcast. I am your co-host, Keone McKeague, and with me as always are my longtime friends and co-hosts, Jared Shirai, Nolan Chang, Jalen Holston. Say what's up to the pod, boys.
What it do?
This burrito is messy, but it is delicious. I don't regret a single thing.
Isn't every...
Chipotle.
Oh, son of a gun.
No, I just got a regular double steak. You know.
Are you a with guac or no guac?
Well, depending on my wallet situation, always guac, you know. And sometimes I get a little frisky. I order double guac on the burrito, and then I'll just get an extra side and save it for later.
I'm not a big guac guy. Won't go out of the way for it.
Really?
Wow.
Oh.
If you had some good guac, you would probably have a different
I don't know why we're friends. No, I'm just joking.
With a little bit of spice. But a lot of guac places, I was like, if I wanted avocado, I would have done avocado. You know, it's very plain tasted half the time. So, like, there's certain places that will have great guac, and some places that I'm just like, I'm not going to spend a little extra for it.
Nolan got cut out.
Mid guac.
Oh, what are you, one of them?
I was
It was like,
Nolan leave?
oh, you're one of them,
Leave?
one of them bougie guac people, eh?
My guac has to have
So sue
7
me.
red onions, not 6.
That's a lot of onions for guac, bro.
That is a lot. I'll just say. Anyway, we're here to talk about football. So here we are, starting off at the top. Jay, I'm going to throw it over to you first because, you know, seems to like we just need to keep beating this dead horse over here as far as Lamar Jackson. The Baltimore Ravens are rumored to be eyeing some of the top-ranked QBs in the draft, and Lamar Jackson obviously put in his trade request, as we talked about in the last episode. 2 questions to you first. What is the holdup with this guy of getting a contract? Is he valued too high, too low? And on top of that, if you're Carolina, Indianapolis, Seattle, or Houston, all 4 teams who are projected to take, you know, the 4 top QBs from this draft, are you giving up your chance at one of these seemingly franchise-altering QBs for Lamar, or are you going to kind of rest your laurels on just kind of rebuilding around a young guy?
Man, here the thing with the holdup is really what these GMs are looking at, which is it's just a fact. Okay, in the most prime moments, regardless of how well Lamar has played, he hasn't been in a playoff game, a significant one. Like he's been hurt last 2 seasons. That is what it is. Some of it you could attribute to the style that Baltimore used him in, so maybe they're also at fault for not really making him develop as a passer, getting a little greedy with how well he does the run option. Mm-hmm. So that is playing into it, I think, more than anything else, is that he's asking for Deshaun Watson money, and Deshaun Watson, prior to the sex scandal stuff, health-wise, was always available. So it's kind of a hard sell to say you want that money when it comes to playoff time, the last 2 years, you haven't been there. So it's just a hard sell right now for a lot of GMs. So unless he's willing to kind of take a reality check of where he's at and what he's doing, then he's going to basically just be a squatting party, and they're going to pay him the minimum from the franchise tag, and they'll probably just release him. They're not going to play Lamar Jackson. If I'm the Ravens, I mean, I would go ahead and just draft, because clearly you're not willing to meet him where he's at and do what he's owed, especially for your franchise that was basically on the brink of irrelevance until you drafted him in that aspect. So if you're looking at it that way, then get Anthony Richardson and just do the formula all over again, because clearly you have no plan to actually commit to a franchise player for your entire organization, which is exactly what he is. He's a model citizen. He's great in the community. All these things. He does everything right, and he has done everything right for your franchise. And I don't know how much more proof you need that he is deserving of that contract that he's asking for from the Ravens. But apparently they don't see it that way, and I guarantee you most of these GMs are just looking at well, you've been hurt the last two seasons, so we don't know. Not like
Sounds
you
like
couldn't
Rocky.
improve the freaking offensive line, giving him some more weapons a little bit, really gotten him a great quarterbacks coach and developed him as a passer. I don't know. Maybe like fucking do your job. That's kind of where I'm at. But if I'm Indy or,
Talking about good coaches, check out Team Huddle.
Hey, oh, boy, do I got some content for that one this week. Woo! Last night was wild. Anyway, back to Lamar Jackson. If I'm Indy or, Carolina, I look at it from a head coach point of view. Like, I wouldn't want Lamar Jackson if I'm going to one of these places to rebuild a franchise. You know what I mean? If we're gonna go new, let's go all new. So I want a young QB. I want young, I want everywhere to be young so we can develop these players and really make a long-standing culture and a good organization to lead off of, to where then we have trade value from the guys we drafted 3-4 years ago to get somebody that's really big once the talent is kind of caught up to the skill level of the NFL. So that's kind of where I would be looking at it.
And just for your reference, right now it's seemingly looking more or less likely that Seattle or Houston, who are a little bit further down, I believe Seattle has like the 5th pick, and then Houston somewhere around that same area, might be reversed. But either way, they're kind of a little bit later in the top 10. So they're looking more at guys like Anthony Richardson and those two teams. If you're either of those two teams, are you picking Lamar Jackson over? So obviously the top 2 right now are CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, but are you looking at him over guys like Will Levis, Anthony Richardson? I forgot what the name of the other kid was, but yeah, like, does Lamar move you where you would go all in on a Lamar trade if you're Seattle or Houston?
I don't think so. I really don't, because I think Houston's in a good spot now with their new head coach and whatever quarterback they can get. And Seattle obviously had the reemergence of Geno Smith, and they're pretty solid on him. He signed an extension. So it's just one of those things, like, there's only so many teams and there's only so many places you can go that have that kind of money, and there's not a lot of desperation like the Browns where they're just going to reach out and grab that. You know what I mean? And I think NFL players need to have that reality check too. Like, the Browns did that because they're fucking awful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, their organization is terrible and they were desperate.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's
so
a
that
reason they're the color
be
of
the
caca.
expectation. Exactly. That shouldn't be the expectation for contracts, because it just doesn't make sense. What are the Browns actually going to do for the next 20 years because they guaranteed all that money to Deshaun? Nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. The players they have now are not going to win. They're not going to win a playoff game. They're not going to win Super Bowls. They're not going to do anything. They're just going to be a really talented football team that'll be kind of in contention some years and mostly not, because Deshaun Watson is not that guy. And then they're not going to be able to do anything signing-wise because everything's tied up with Deshaun Watson. And he's going to fall into a spot where they're going to get sick of his shit, cut him, and then all of a sudden he's not going to find a spot because no one's going to pick up that contract. So that is what it is. And I understand players have to operate on that, like, well, this is the max value of my position. This is what it should be. This is the market value. Like, no, it's not. That is an aberration. Like, that is not a real market value. That is an aberration. So,
from my basketball
it's
stance, this is literally like the Rudy Gobert deal, like just in NFL terms.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what we're talking about here. But yeah, I'm going to throw it over to you. I think that was a perfect analysis. Nolan, Tyreke Hill has been on record now as stating that he will retire after his contract is over, which is 2025. So not that far away. He's spoken out, saying that he really wants to get into the business side of the NFL. What do you think about Tyreke Hill possibly retiring after, sort of not a resurgence here, because obviously he's been doing great, but after kind of a great year this last year and kind of heading into this new season?
You said the end of 2025, correct?
Yeah, so that's the end of his contract.
I mean, for football, I take it a little more by word, excluding Tom Brady, but you know what I mean. I take it by word. If a player kind of reaches that point in his career where he knows he might be just done with the game of football in certain aspects. If he has a plan for business side, that's the best thing you want for a professional athlete, because a lot of these pro athletes go into their sport without a backup plan, without kind of understanding that this is going to be maybe 10 years of your life. And after that, you're on your own. May not have a degree, may not have any sense of actual business in general. But if he understands that kind of side of life and he's ready to move on from it, I think it's an honest answer for him to say now. Of course, situation-wise, once he gets to the end of that season, depends. You know, if there's some unfinished business, if there's an inkling that maybe he could hash it out for another year or two after that because he thinks that there's a promising future or now future with a team or the team he's on at that time, I think that it's kind of the ball's in his court in regards to that. But at this point, I take his word for it. If he's ready to move on, he's ready.
So obviously he's not that much older as far as the league is concerned. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on. So there's an idea that's been proposed by the NFL. They're going to go into negotiations pretty soon. I can't remember the exact date or whatever that they will be doing that with the NFL BPA and all that kind of stuff. So the players union and all that. As we get into those negotiations, do you kind of see a future in the NFL where they go sort of the NBA route where these contracts are a little more front heavy for their kind of younger years, and then we kind of see because guys are retiring a lot sooner.
Yeah.
So do you kind of see that being an avenue in the future for the NFL, or do you kind of see it being more prove it until you get your big contract kind of deal for the NFL?
That's tough. Just because the game of football is obviously great one
Very
season,
physical.
injured the next season.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get. We always kind of say that we like that the players kind of make these stances for themselves as well as everyone around the league so that they can get their money up right because they know that this game is so dangerous in whatever regards. But at the same time, you look at it from the owner's point of view. I can't just throw all my eggs in a basket because I'm hoping you're going to stay healthy for these younger years when one bad turn is going to create something completely different for the future of this franchise as well as the future of you. Yeah. And we've already seen it in the NBA where you see these players who are requesting more outlandish contracts or extensions because they have that power now with the players' union. I don't want that necessarily to get to that point for the NFL, but it is a completely different atmosphere and environment. And one day you're good to go. One day you're earning that money. You're valued perfectly with that money. Next day you're hoping that rehab is going to be good to get you back on the field. So I don't think I like the idea of a top heavy contract because for the sake of the game, if that does happen for a player that you know is the franchise tag and then all of a sudden they can't play, some fans' favorite team is going to be shit for the next few years because they're handcuffed to the contract that they just signed. So I don't necessarily like it, but I understand if it's something that does come to fruition.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting conversation all the way up until the point that it actually gets decided. So I'm super curious to see which way they go with that one. Kind of moving over to you, Jared, obviously as the guy who kind of talked about the 49ers the most last year. And then I think you were the one that picked them to win it all, right?
Oh, yeah, because I picked Christian McCaffrey. That's why.
Got you. So throwing it over to you. There was a video recently that dropped of Trey Lance working out with Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people making a lot of hoo-ha about this whole video. But if you are the 49ers, does it change your opinion on whether or not you would keep him as a high upside QB, or do you kind of stick with Purdy and, still think about the possibility of trading Trey Lance in the future?
I mean, I would keep him just to keep the possibilities open. I mean, we saw how many quarterbacks they literally ran through this year. So you never know what's going to happen, what freak injury is going to happen. And I think having the two of them as a 1-2 punch actually gives them a lot because their two showings in their stints that I guess you would say they had this season, they actually did their job until they got injured. And so, I mean, why not, right? Purdy was the man at the end. I wish he could have finished the job, not get injured, but, he stepped in perfectly when they needed him to. And you have the two quarterbacks that are already kind of they know the system. They've been there for a while. Yeah. And I feel like just keeping him around would be that. Unless you're trading him for more valuable pieces or getting something better out of him, I think that's where it's got to be, at least for the Niners' sake. You got to think in injury terms for them, because we all saw this season.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that's what it was.
But actually, like to stockpile 9 quarterbacks on my roster, just
we're gonna
just
have
in case, you know?
one kicker, one placeholder. The placeholder has to be able to throw the ball. And
Right.
Hey, if you're
Did you see those
and you
rumors?
can throw the ball. Come here.
There's rumors that
There may be
they
a
are
spot for you.
they're actually trying to possibly trade for Kirk Cousins.
They can't do my boy Jefferson like that.
Damn.
I just man,
Interesting.
if they end up
Interesting.
getting Kirk Cousins, it'd be really, really weird. Just that depth chart. I don't know. I was like, I don't know if Kirk Cousins is that much more reliable
No.
as far as injury history too. So that's a little.
We
bit
may
of a
be
weird one.
Northern California, but we stay mid.
I still think Trey Lance is definitely the QB1, though. Like, you know what I mean? Because
I mean, I think
let's not
they
be
said that
crazy about
Purdy
it,
won't be ready
you know?
for the start
Yeah.
of the season. So regardless, Trey Lance is getting the ball in the first snap.
I still think
But-
even if he was healthy, like it's still, you know what I mean? Like, because that was the plan originally. I don't think the Shanahans were going to deviate, even if Purdy was healthy to finish that season. That, you know, it wouldn't be Trey Lance's job to lose, essentially.
like his place to lose. Yeah.
Right, because that's what they built the franchise around, was having Trey Lance and going forward with that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what they do this year. What do you think about him working out with Mahomes? Just you think that's? I mean,
Want to get better? You work out with the best QB in the league. That's how it goes. I mean,
I'm
guys
just
worked
saying.
out with Tom Brady for a reason. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, that's very true.
it's literally the same. You want to learn, you want to grow, you want to get better. You go talk to the guy that has done a lot of really good stuff. You know, that's how I would go about it.
Just won a championship.
Say it loud for the people in the back, Jay.
Just win Super Bowl. I mean, I'd probably want to go throw with that guy. Yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Siphon talent.
Yeah.
Moving over to our kind of final 2 topics. First one I'm going to give you, it's a little bit of a game thing that I picked up from another pod that I kind of saw. Would you rather? Would you rather's today would be, would you rather have Cam Newton or whatever quarterback I name after this? Cam Newton has been on record as saying that he would back up a lot of QBs. He's also been on record as saying that he's better than at least
Now Cam Newton?
Yes, now Cam Newton.
Yeah, this
so
one,
he said
right
that
now.
he's at least better than one of the 32 starting QBs. He is firmly in belief that there's not 32 QBs who are better than him. So, would you rather, Cam Newton edition, throwing it over to you, Jared, then Jay, then Nolan. First, Brock Purdy. Jared, then Jay. Then
I know. Damn. Cam Newton now?
Now or
Cam
Brock
Newton now.
Purdy.
Or Brock Purdy.
Oh no, I like Brock Purdy.
Okay.
Jay?
Just despite the idiocy of this man's statements, it's Brock Purdy. Like, what are you doing, Cam? Like, what planet does he think he's on where he gets to list QBs that he would back up and guys that he thinks that he's better than? If you were better,
not
you'd
that
have a
guy.
fucking job. You know what I
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not
Like,
wrong.
if you were better, you wouldn't have blown yourself out in New England. Like, what? Huh?
Not wrong. Throwing it over to you, Noel. Brock Purdy.
I got to go Purdy.
There we go. Next one. We got Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers. Jared.
Oh no, we love Jordan Love. We've been talking about him all season.
Yeah, Jordan Love.
Love
Jordan Love
the
stand.
idea of
Yeah. I was like Jordan Love.
I was a
100%.
salesman.
Younger,
Yeah.
has more room to grow. Not an idiot. Next.
Not an idiot.
Nolan, Jordan Love.
Consider I've never seen him take a snap. I'm just going to go with Cam on that one.
Yeah.
Boo. Boo.
Next one we got up, Malik Willis of the Tennessee Titans. Jared. Yeah, exactly. He's possibly their
Quarterback
starting
that
QB.
almost beat us at home when what's his nuts was dead. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
Malik Willis.
I was like, if they almost beat you, I mean, he's still getting more snaps. I don't know. I might take Cam in that one. I might take Cam in that one.
Jay?
It's Malik Willis. I think he showed a credible amount of guts.
Spoiler alert: Jay's probably going to pick him.
Oh no, there might be a time where I pick Cam,
Here
but
it
probably
comes,
not.
guys. Every pod. Here
Derek
it
Carr.
comes.
Probably not.
Here it comes.
In that game that I saw him play in against us at home, he was a problem. He was a problem, and we had no answers. And luckily, our defense bailed us out towards
He
the
has been
very, very
referred
end of that
to
ball.
as Lamar Jackson Light. So,
Yes.
throwing it
He
over
is
to you,
very much
Nolan.
For the Chiefs moment of the pod, in the comment section, put Chiefs and you will
It was
win
relevant.
a high
I'm sorry.
five.
It was relevant. I'm just saying. Blame Keona. He's hosting, not me.
Throwing it over to you, Nolan.
I'll
Malik
go with
Willis.
Willis.
Right on. The next one up, Geno Smith. Going over to you, Jared.
Oh, come on.
Geno Smith, man.
Come
Do
on.
you see the season he had?
Jesus. Yeah, it's Gino. What are you?
I'm going Geno as well.
What game was
Right
that?
on.
What game is this?
Up next, Derek Carr.
Oh.
Hey, let me, guys, don't bother.
Nolan,
Let me.
say it, Nolan.
Nolan. Go ahead, Nolan.
Fuck you, Derek Carr. Cam Newton.
Put it down.
God, I think I'm gonna go with Cam too.
Jay?
Well, shit.
Yeah.
It's like-
you thought,
it's like
you thought it was
picking
going to be all good names.
I love how it's on cue because
I am
called
taking
Derek
you
Carr.
to mid-central
Oh,
right
just
now.
called
God.
Derek Carr.
So much mid. I'm gonna go with Derek Carr.
Ooh.
Well, I can't. The last image I have of Cam Newton is like New England, and then like the 2 days he was in Carolina after they let him go, and it wasn't great. You know what I mean? It just wasn't good at all. Like not even close to good. So, yeah.
Up next, we got Kirk Cousins. Going over to you, Jared.
Captain Kirk.
How dare you give him that name? Just like, that is for Kirk Heinrich only.
The two bids.
2 mids. So many mids. Probably Kirk though.
Going my boy Kirk.
Hey. Up next, we got Jared Goff.
And I see that's a little bit of a tough one.
Jared?
I'm gonna stick with Jared.
Wow. Just because he has the same name.
You don't say.
Going over to you, Jay.
Are they in this scenario? Would Cam be on the Detroit Lions? Is that
That
what?
would be the team, yes.
I think he'd be about as productive as Jared Goff in Detroit. So Cam, it's the same. Really, it's
the same
like a
person
null.
for you?
Yeah, it's like a null.
Hey, he's got a shot at 2 teams on the list so far. So swing it over to you, Nolan.
Look at that.
I think I'll go with Cam on this one.
Right on. Up next, Matthew Stafford. Coming off an injury.
No.
Jared.
No, I'm still taking Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Matt Stafford.
Damn.
Matt Stafford on one leg is still better than Cam Newton. I don't care.
Ooh. True, but anyway.
Very true.
All right. And the last one.
Excuse me.
I already know Jay's answer for this one. I'm just going to skip Jay. No, I'm just joking. We got Baker Mayfield.
Jesus Christ. Oh.
I don't know. Do I have to pick?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
It's pretty rough.
That's what I mean.
We're taking just who you got?
I'm just gonna take Cam Newton just to give him something good to
Making it
think about.
spicy. Jayla?
There is no other answer. It has to be Baker Mayfield. I have said it since day one at Oklahoma. He is the promised son of the... What is he, on the Buccaneers now, I guess? Yeah. Buccaneers.
Yeah, Bucks, yeah.
Like,
I don't care.
he's like, I don't even know what
But-
team he's on.
Yeah,
I'm going with the Baker's dozen as well.
Baker.
All right. And that'll do it for our Would You Rather. So we got them on 2-3 teams, I think, in that entire thing. So the final thing we're going to do for today.
There's not 29 other teams better than you. Cam.
We're going back to an old segment, yay or nay. We got draft day trade candidates. Just give me your yay or nay whether or not these guys will be drafted before or during the draft. So starting off, first name off the top, Lamar Jackson.
Nay.
I'm gonna go D.
I think nay.
Up next, Aaron Rodgers. Will he finally go to the Jets?
Oddly enough, my hot take is nay.
Oh.
I swear to God, like the Jets are just gonna mooch all of this stuff and then just not get a deal done, and then he's stuck in Green Bay where he doesn't want to be, and then the Jets can just snag somebody else with the loaded pieces thing.
Huh?
Like, are they? Did the Jets
No,
have a pick in the first
they're
round at all?
far enough down where they will not get any of the top QBs.
Okay.
Yeah, barring some
I'm gonna go
masterful
yay.
trade.
I'm kind of with Jay. I'm thinking nay. There's too much. Just taking way too long.
Goodness, could you imagine after all that you don't even get them?
I think it's way too
Anyway.
long.
But your
Next
team's
one-
loaded for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Because
Very
everybody
true.
wants to
Right.
go because they
Defense
think he's going.
just took all his pieces from Green Bay. Like,
Possibly a
Hey-o.
mobile QB from Baltimore. Just saying. Anyway, they do have a high enough pick. I'm just saying. Anyway, Carr. Moving on to the next one. We got Derrick Henry.
yay.
Oh, that'll
I do
be a
think
hell of
he
a.
will be traded
I'm
for
thinking
some
yay as
reason. I
well.
don't fucking understand it, but yeah, I think he'll be traded.
Yeah, exactly. Nolan,
I
Jared.
got yay as well.
Oh, okay, Jared.
I'll spite you guys. I'll go nay.
Ooh, he said just to spite you guys. Up next, we got Austin Eckler.
Yay.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go
The
nay.
Chargers don't know what they're doing, so
I'm gonna go yay.
I'm gonna go nay.
right on. We're gonna see. I mean, it's gonna be crazy if both of those guys get traded. So up next, we got
Swapped.
Mac Jones from the Patriots.
ooh.
Another rumored one, since Bill Belichick is supposedly super enthralled with some of the top QBs this year.
What if they trade him to the Jets and then he just pops off?
That would be.
Wouldn't that be fucking wild?
That would actually be a pretty damn good fit. I'm just saying.
Listen, I'm yay for this.
That's a yay. That's a yay. Nolan.
I'm gonna go nay.
Ooh.
He said, nah.
Nay. Nay.
And the final name we got here, which is another rumored draft day trade candidate,
Yay.
is Sir D Hop.
Yay, because I'd like the actual rumor to be true, but we can't afford it.
Ooh, if you guys get him. You guys are just hoping he gets cut.
I want it to be true. I think we're playing the long con with that one, to be
Yeah.
honest. There's no way we want to
Despite
trade
Jalen.
for it, but I think
Lower his
there's a world.
value until you guys can actually just pick him up off of free agency.
I think there's a world where the Chiefs would sign him as a free agent, but there's not one where we're giving up picks because Veach is a fucking vulture with those things. So
She's also fantastic making those choices. So that's a yay, nay for no. That's a yay.
It's
for
a yay
Jay.
for Jay.
For you
I'll
two.
take a nay.
To quote John Wick,
Good. Anyway, that'll do it for us here on the Fifth Down. Not too much coming out of the NFL, but we're going to try to keep up with all the news that we do here. Obviously, we're heading into draft day season, so we're going to be excited to kind of react to what happens during the draft, which I'm not even exactly sure on the date, but it's coming soon. I know that for sure. I believe it's at the end of this month. Anyway, that was a fantastic segment, guys. Where can the people find you? Starting off with you, Jared.
I am on Instagram and Twitch at JShirai, JSHIRAI, and on Twitter at JShirai808.
Yes, sir. Moving over to you, Jay. Where can the people find you?
you can find me on Instagram at art_by_Jalen. You can find me on Twitter at Jalen Holston. And you can find me on Twitch at MochaThanos_LGG.
And for you, Noland.
you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at NolanKYT, NOLANKYT.
Right on. And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at KONE. That's KAYOHKNEE. And you can follow us on Instagram at The Boy and Soy Podcast, where we will be posting a lot of reels coming up. With that said, thank you for joining us on Athletes Anonymous Presents The Fifth Down. As always, it has been a pleasure. It's been a joy from all of us here at Boy and Soy.
Good vibes and love, everybody.
Bang, bang.
Shoot.